Trucker. This is going to be part one on a series of videos. I'm highly doubt I'm going to be the greatest at it, but something I've thought about for a while, wanted to cover. Back in 1776, we gained our independence from England. We had to fight for that independence. Was it worth fighting for? At the time, the answer would have definitely been yes.
Here's the Google result.
My phone decided to do a Google search. Today, it's almost back like it was before. Too much government control. I got some printed material. I don't think I'm going to go through this entire thing today. I think I'll just get a start today. At the end of this video, I want everybody, if you would, please comment. Let me know if you want me to continue with these videos. It may be 2, 3, 4, 5 videos. These videos may go on. If I do one a week, one every 2 weeks, they may go on for a month. They may go on for a year. I don't know. It just depends on what I want to cover, what I find. First couple printouts I got are Causes of the American Revolution and Timeline of the Revolutionary War. I think I'm going to start with the causes of the American Revolution and go from there. Here are some things that we know. In the beginning, the colonies were proud to be British. There were small instances of Parliament control that bothered the colonists, like the Currency Acts of 1751, 1764. But when the French and Indian War took place, 1754 to 1763, King George III lost a great deal of money due to buying expensive supplies for his army and colonies. In order to pay off his debts, he imposed taxes on the colonies without their consent. We all know that was a big instigator in the Revolution. Taxes. What's happening today? They are implementing taxes on everything. Here in Illinois, they want to tax, if you go to the store and they bag your groceries, it doesn't matter whether it's paper or plastic, you're paying 5 cents per bag. A 5-cent tax per bag. This outrages the colonists. It's an old saying that you should always look for the money trail. The Protestant Reformation had one, and money was certainly one of the major causes of the American Revolution. The colonists did not like being taxed for things that had always had for free. Sound familiar? They immediately began a boycott of British goods. Now it was the King's turn to be furious. King George wasted no time in sending soldiers across the Atlantic to make sure the colonies were behaving as they should. I can see our government doing that today. The federal government wants us to act the way they want us to act. Not as free citizens that we are according to our Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights. Soon, what is perhaps the most famous of the causes of the American Revolution came to pass. A young ship owner brought over a ship full of taxed tea from the British and declared he would see it unloaded. The colonists decided they would see none of the tea leave the ship. A group of colonists dressed as American Indians boarded the ship at night and threw the tea overboard into the harbor, ruining all of it. When they saw one of their comrades trying to stuff some in his pockets, they stripped the tea from his grasp and sent him home without his pants. They then stripped the ship owner of his clothes and tarred and feathered him. In response to the Boston Tea Party, the king imposed the Intolerable Acts. One of the more major causes of the American Revolution, the Intolerable Acts were the Boston Port Act, closing the port of Boston until the Dutch East India Company had been repaid for the destroyed tea. The Massachusetts Government Act, putting the government of Massachusetts almost entirely under direct British control. Give you some time to ponder on that one. The Administration of Justice Act, allowing royal officers to be tried in Britain if the king felt it necessary for fair justice. The Quartering Act, ordering the colonies to provide lodging for British soldiers. In our Constitution, it is in there that we do not have to provide quarters for a soldier unless it's in the time of war. Hey Nora, you come to do the video with me? The Quebec Act, expanding British territory in Canada and guarantee the free practice of Roman Catholicism. The Quartering Act licensed the colonies most. Let me rephrase that. The Quartering Act incensed the colonies most. Noir, nine, aus. Okay, where was I? The King of Parliament revived an old law requiring colonists to requiring the colonists to house British soldiers in their homes because of the Boston Massacre 4 years earlier in 1770. The colonists were afraid of the soldiers in their homes. They would lay awake at night with fear for their children embedded in their hearts like a knife. This is when the colonies decided that something must be done. Cause of the American Revolution, the First Continental Congress. One of the Intolerable Acts, the First Continental Congress was born. In this Congress, 55 delegates representing 12 of the 13 colonies, Georgia withheld, argued back and forth as to whether or not they should separate from Britain for killing their people, fired cannon on their cities, closing down Boston seaport, and primarily imposing the Intolerable Acts. The Congress was in session for 2 solid months in September and October of 1774. After much dissension, they decided to send a Declaration of Rights and Grievances to King George, hoping their demands would be met. At this point, the colonists still could not foresee separating from Britain. So just 2 years before our independence, they still could not see separating from Britain. They wanted to find a common ground. Most ominously, they also endorsed the Suffolk Reserve, resolution passed by the Suffolk County in Massachusetts, certainly one of the causes of the American Revolution. Massachusetts was the colony worst hit by the Intolerable Acts. The Suffolk Reserve warned General Thomas Gage that Massachusetts would not tolerate their enforcement and that they would retain possession of all taxes collected in Massachusetts. After sending the Declaration of Rights and Grievances, the First Continental Congress separated to await Britain's reply. The Battle of Lexington and Concord. Tension was far too high for the king to respond favorably. The colonists began to amass arms and prepare for what they felt was an inevitable battle with the oppressive British Army. It came soon enough. Paul Revere's ride on April 19, 1775 was to announce the approach of British soldiers to stamp out colonist resistance in the towns of Lexington and Concord. Lexington was first. The British met only 77 Minutemen. We had Minutemen back then that they called Minutemen. Wonder why we don't have those today. And at first were pleased to allow them to leave. However, From some unknown place, a shot was fired, and the British opened up on the Americans. 8 were killed, 10 wounded, and the British suffered but 1 minor casualty. It was made up for at Concord. The colonists were prepared. 400 Minutemen sent the British troops scurrying back to Lexington, completely unprepared to be fired on from the woods during the retreat. Apparently, guerrilla tactics were considered ungentlemanlike in that day and age. Nowadays, guerrilla warfare is basically how it's done. Even urban warfare is, I can see being basically the same. Ungentlemanly or not, they were effective, and the Americans routed the British all the way back to Boston. There were nearly 300 British casualties, including 73 dead and 23 missing. The Americans suffered less than 100. It was time to do something. The Continental Congress gathered again in May of 1775, where they would become and remain the government of the colonies until the end of the Revolutionary War. They quickly made an attempt at peace. Once again, 1775, attempting peace, not war. Sending the olive branch petition to King George declaring their loyalty. When it reached the king, he pushed it aside and didn't even read it. And in response, he sent a proclamation to the Congress saying that they would all hang for the defiance of the crown. The olive branch petition. I thought you might be interested in the proposition the Second Continental Congress made to King George III. Attached to your Majesty's person, family, and government with all devotion that principle and affection can aspire, connected with Great Britain by the strongest ties that can untie societies, and deploring every event that tends in any degree to weaken them. We solemnly assure your Majesty that we not only most ardently desire the former harmony between her and these colonies may be restored, but that a concord may be established between them upon so firm a basis as to perpetuate its balancings, uninterrupted by any future decisions, to succeed generations in both countries, and to transmit your Majesty's name to prosperity. This came from u/s/history.com. This united the colonies and birthed the Declaration of Independence, which bore us to war with Britain. That's just the bare basics of the beginning of the revolution causes. I think I'm going to go down through the timeline, and I'm going to stop this video here. In my next video, we'll go down through the timeline and pick out specific events. We'll focus on those events one at a time. The French and Indian War, 1754 to 1763. 1754, June 19th to July 11th, the Albany Congress. October 7th, Proclamation of 1763. April 5th, let's see here, this one goes here, this one goes here. April 5th, the Sugar Act, 1765. And then 1766, March 22nd, the Stamp Act. No, wait a minute here. How they got this? They got the year, then the incident, the year. Okay, I'm going to start back over on this. 1754 to 1763 was the French and Indian War. 1754, June 19th to July 11th, the Albany Congress. 1763, October 7th, Proclamation of 1763. April 5th, 1764, the Sugar Act. September 1st, 1764, the Currency Act. March 22nd, 1765, the Stamp Act. March 24th, 1765, the Quartering Act. May 29th, 1765, Patrick Henry said, "If this be treason, make the most of it." March 30th, 1765, the Virginia Stamp Act resolutions. October 7th to the 25th, 1765, the Stamp Act Congress. March 18th, 1766, the Declaratory Act. June 29th, 1767, the Townshend Revenue Act. August 1st, 1768, Boston Non-Importation Agreement. March 5th, 1770, the Boston Massacre. June 9th, 1772, the Gaspee Affair. May 10th, 1773, the Tea Act. December 16th, the Boston Tea Party. March 31st, 1774, Boston Port Act, one of the intolerable acts. May 20th, 1774, Administration of Justice Act, one of the intolerable acts. May 20th, 1774, Massachusetts Government Act, one of the intolerable acts. June 2nd, 1774, Quartering Act of 1774, one of the intolerable acts. June 22nd, Quebec Act, one of the intolerable acts. September 5th through October 26th, 1774, the First Continental Congress meets at Philadelphia and issues declaration and resolves. October 10th, 1774, Battle of Point Pleasant, Virginia. Disputed as to whether it was a battle of the American Revolution or accumulation of Lord Dunmore's War. I don't know. I'll have to look and see Lord Dunmore's War, what that was. October 20th, 1774, the Association was prohibition of trade with Great Britain. October 24th, Galloway's Plan, rejected. March 23rd, 1775, Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death. April 18th, 1775, the Rides of Paul Revere. April 19th, 1775, Minutemen. Minutemen and Redcoats, a clash at Lexington and Concord. So April 19th was the ride. The shot heard around the world. May 10th, 1775, Ethan Allen and the Green Mountain Boys seized Fort Ticonderoga. May 10th, 1775, the Second Continental Congress meets in Philadelphia. Oh, I didn't really look at a bunch here. Yeah, I got 5 pages of timeline here. Let's go up to adopt the Declaration, July 4th, 1776. We'll just go up to 1776 in this video. This should be 1775. Yeah, 1775. June 15th, 1775, George Washington named Commander-in-Chief. June 17th, 1775, Battle of Bunker Hill. The British drive the Americans from Breed's Hill. July 3rd, 1775, Washington assumes command of the Continental Army. November 10th to the 21st, 1775, 96 South Carolina Patriots sieged. November 13th, 1775, the Patriots under Montgomery occupy Montreal in Canada. December 11th, 1775, Virginia and North Carolina Patriots rout Loyalist troops and burn Norfolk. December 22nd, 1775, Colonel Thomason with 1,500 Rangers and militia captured Loyalists at Great Canebrake, South Carolina. December 23rd to the 30th, 1775, Snow Campaign in South Carolina, so called because the Patriots were impeded by 15 inches of snow. December 30th to the 31st, American forces under Benedict Arnold fell to seize Quebec. And we start into 1776 from there. I'm going to stop this video here. My next video, let me know, do you want me to cover some of what I've covered in this timeline, or do you want me to go on the timeline and finish the timeline and then go back and cover? Some other information I got right now is the Boston Tea Party, who did it, why did it occur, and who was involved. That is a pretty lengthy document. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pages. Was talking about the acts, the Currency Act, and I had another one here. The Currency Act, the Stamp Act. I want to get some information on the Quartering Act, the Declaratory Act. I'll print up some information on these acts, more of these acts. And then British, the big one I want to hit on. British intended to seize colonist guns. That is a big one. That is a big one going on today. Why? For the exact same reason, the British, why do they want to seize firearms today? My opinion. The exact same reason that the British wanted to seize firearms, weapons, back during the Revolution was, if you seize the weapons, they can't fight back. Like I said, give me your thoughts down in the. I really want to hear your thoughts on this one. How would you like to see this proceed? Do I cover some of the timeline I did already, or do I go on with the timeline and cover things when I'm done? And most of all, let me know whether you want me to continue with these videos. Thank you for watching. I thank you for your time. Hit that thumbs up, and I am going to ask that if I do all right with these, you think I'm doing okay with these, definitely share this video. Till next time.